All right, well, it's 5:30, so we will go ahead and get started. Um, if you are joining us from the community, we're very glad you're here, and we would encourage everyone to go ahead and mute your phone and or your computer connection. You can do that in Google Meets by just hovering near the bottom of the screen, and you'll see a bar pop up. And you can just press the microphone button, and that will go ahead and mute your call. We will have time at the end for question and answer if you would like to participate in the conversation. Just so you're all aware, this meeting is being live streamed for those within the city and county, and it is also being recorded, and we will go ahead and send the link to the recording out through our communication channels. So without further ado, I want to just welcome everyone. This is our first of what we hope to be an annual conversation with and about older adults in Broomfield. So this is presented in partnership with Broomfield Health and Human Services, our Broomfield Police Department, Senior Services, Library, and other community partners. And every year, communities around the world honor and recognize World Elder Abuse Awareness Day on June 15th. Because our world has changed so much over the past few months and we were not able to hold the typical events we would in past years, our team really wanted to bring together experts and professionals in Broomfield who work with our older adults in our community to provide information, resources, and answer any questions you might have. We want to recognize and honor the significant contributions of our older adult citizens to the city and county, as well as recognize those who love and care for them. So tonight's session, as I mentioned, will be recorded and available for viewing, and we are so glad you've decided to join us for this evening. So this is our brief agenda. I will be turning it over in just a moment to Jennifer Hoffman, our city manager, to kick us off. And then we will be going through several different topics regarding mistreatment of at-risk adults and mandatory reporting, some financial fraud and scam information from our Broomfield Police Department, victim services information, senior services, library, Cultivate, which is a community partner of ours, and then other community speakers that we have on the line. And then we will be turning it over to you all for any questions that you might have. In the meantime, if you would like to put any questions in the chat box, you can do so, and I will be tracking those, and we can get to those at the end of the call. So without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Jennifer Hoffman. Jennifer, can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Thanks, Mal. I sure appreciate it. And thanks for including me tonight. I think from the perspective of our seniors in Broomfield, you don't have to live here long or work here long to really honor and value the fact that Broomfield, we love our seniors. And loving our seniors translates into being mindful and intentional about our services, our programs, our outreach, our engagement, and what that looks like. And the challenge that we have all felt with COVID, I don't think any population has felt it more or as deeply or prolonged as our seniors. So really acknowledging what's been happening, and Molly, it was so thoughtful of you to ensure that there was some recognition of Elder Abuse Day. And although it was back in June, we recognize the vital role that all of our seniors and our older adults play in Broomfield and throughout our community. Not only from a volunteer perspective, but for those that help us be better people. I, for one, and those that do know me, seniors and the efforts towards our older population is key for me. I feel most comfortable. Those are my people. And I'm excited tonight to kick this off. Maureen Testa, I don't even know how long she's been with Broomfield, but she has been a champion for for so many causes in Broomfield. We're so fortunate to have her, and bringing together the representatives from across our organization tonight. I can see many are on the line right now to field your questions, and also to provide not only the basic information, but also resources and follow-up. So we always appreciate and welcome feedback, what we could be doing better, more, deeper, differently. Please know that we are here for you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Molly, and we'll start the program. And we certainly appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. Thanks again. Molly?
Thank you so much, Jen. Appreciate it very much. And thank you for your kind words. I couldn't have done this without our Broomfield older adult team, that is a collaboration of internal city and county folks and our community partners who gather on a very regular basis to talk about systems issues that are impacting our older adult community, as well as specific cases and families where we could be doing a better job coordinating. So hats off to the Broomfield older adult team for helping us put this all together. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Bonnie Steele, our Adult Protective Services Supervisor, who will be reviewing information about mistreatment of at-risk adults and our mandatory reporting requirements. Bonnie?
Good evening. I'm Bonnie Steele. I'm a supervisor here at HHS, and I'm involved in the adult protection program with the City and County of Broomfield. So we wanted to start by talking about mandatory reporting. I also want to talk about, you do not have to be a mandatory reporter to make reports regarding concerns with any individual, including children and at-risk adults. So there are some mandatory reporters based on their profession that are required to make reports to the police department and or to HHS in regards to at-risk adults. And the definition of an at-risk adult, typically anybody over 70, however, with adult protection, it is anybody 18 or older who is susceptible to treatment, mistreatment, and self-neglect because they are unable to perform or obtain services necessary, basically for their well-being. Or they lack sufficient understanding or capacity to make or communicate decisions on their behalf. So I believe on the next slide, we go through a bunch of who might be mandatory reporters. But again, I want to reiterate that if anybody has any concerns for the well-being of at-risk adults, please give us a call, and we can see if there's any way that we can be helpful and investigate anything that we need to. For a mandatory reporter, here's a list of some that might fall under that category. For mandatory reporters, if you are calling in about an at-risk adult who is 70 or older, you are required to make that report to the police department. But we believe best practice is to call both agencies. Some things that you might want to be prepared for when you do make that call is we would want to obviously have some of the basic demographic information, name, address. If you have a date of birth, that would be wonderful. A description of what you're concerned about, the nature and extent of any injuries that might be present, any information in regards to what we consider as an alleged perpetrator who might be abusing or neglecting an at-risk adult. Some other things that would be very helpful to help us in the process of what we call enhanced screening is some other information such as any medical, physical conditions, impairments, day-to-day schedules, events that they're attending, participating in, any memory, decision-making, understanding deficiencies, last time you might have seen that at-risk adult, any recent decline in the adult's ability to care for themselves, any services that they might be involved with, and any other like support systems, support networks, relatives, families, friends, agencies that they're connected with is all very helpful when we're making decisions about our involvement with a family. So some different types of maltreatment that we do get involved with at-risk adults around are on this slide. Physical abuse is basically non-accidental infliction of pain or injury or unreasonable confinement or restraint of an at-risk adult. The thing I want to point out with physical abuse is that you do not have to have an injury for it to be considered or have a concern around physical abuse. What we talk about is what is an action causing pain that would fall under a physical abuse allegation. And then we have sexual abuse that's subjecting any at-risk adult to unlawful sexual conduct or contact. Something I do want to point out here is that it does not have to be actually physical contact with an at-risk adult. It can be even forced exposure to any sexual activity against their will. Exploitation, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, but this is definitely a broad category. It does not actually mean just abusing or taking a client's financial means, but it can be actually even withholding valuable things that an at-risk adult would need to care for themselves, or if it's, taking, I'm sorry, give me a second. So using deception, harassment, intimidation, or undue influence to permanently or temporarily deprive someone of the possessions, use, or benefits of anything of value. And again, that does not have to be actual monetary items. It's anything of value. And forcing, compelling, coerces, enticing at-risk adults to perform services at the advantage of others against their will, or misusing an at-risk adult's property. Caretaker neglect. This is in regards to basically any identified caretaker that might be neglecting an at-risk adult in any way. This is definitely narrowed down to a caretaker specifically. So anyone identified who's taking care of an at-risk adult or providing some services to them would be considered a caretaker. I believe an update that if you guys want to keep a lookout for is there's some new rules that are coming down to the state where this definition will expand a little bit. I believe we're going to be learning about that shortly, but there might be a possibility that that definition is going to expand to any adult who has a significant relationship with an at-risk adult who can be neglecting them. And then the last category that we have is the self-neglect. So if there's an at-risk adult who's making decisions that is not in their best interest and is endangers their health, safety, welfare, or life by not seeking or obtaining services that they need, we'll engage with them and help them through that. A big part of this is that at-risk adults or adults in general do have a right to make decisions in regards to their life and how they want to live their life. So some warning signs that you might want to look out for out in the community that could be concerning for abuse and neglect. Sometimes at-risk adults might sustain some injuries that are not explainable, malnourished, weight loss, poor hygiene, symptoms of different mental health symptoms such as anxiety, depression, and confusion, unexplained transactions or loss of money, and withdrawing from their support systems. So those are some things that you might want to keep an eye out for out there with your community. So just some protective factors that we would like to express to the community is really this is a community effort. People need to create a community. They need to be connected. So if you see people out in the community that might need, or if you have a neighbor that might need some help, please check on them, offer some assistance. It definitely takes a community to kind of do life together. So relationship levels, having numerous and strong relationships with people is a protective factor that would help at-risk adults from being abused or neglected. the community level involvement, having effective monitoring systems, policies, procedures regarding patient care, regular trainings of elder abuse or neglect for employees, education and clear guidance on durable power of attorney and how it can be used, and visiting your family and your neighbors again regularly. If you'd like to learn more about mandatory reporter training, there is a link here, and it is on the state website that you can go to if you'd like to learn more about that. If you have any questions, though, at all, please always give us a call. We want to be helpful to our community. And if you have any concerns about any at-risk adult and you're not sure if it's going to fall under those definitions, please feel free and give us a call and we can walk through that with you. I also want to end that you don't have to investigate. You do not have to prove that things are happening. You just have to suspect that. And if you have any concerns, just give us a call. We're here to help.
Excellent job. Thank you, Bonnie. So I think that was a really great overview and a way to kick us off into our next topic, which we have a very distinguished guest from our Broomfield Police Department here to talk to us about financial scams, fraud. And we know that this topic has been in the news, especially for our older adult population and our seniors. We know that there's a lot of things that happen now with the internet and with phone calls and with outreaches. And this can be a really impactful thing for our community. And we do know that there has been quite a few people who have lost money. So with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and turn it over to Paul and just have him talk to us about financial fraud and scams.
Thanks for having me. As you said, my name is Paul. I'm one of the two financial crimes investigators for the city, so it keeps us busy, and as much as we can prevent, it helps us and helps people save money. So a couple of the scams we're seeing now, they don't really change a whole lot. The mechanism changed, but the scam really doesn't. And one of those big ones is the Grandparent Scam, which I'm sure you've all heard of, where the scammer calls, pretending to be the grandson usually, or the granddaughter, and says, I've been in a DUI accident, I'm in jail, I need money, I need it right now, and that starts a scam. And then they're very stressful phone calls, and they're very pushy and very loud, and it doesn't give the victim time to just step back and think about it for a minute, because they do want to help their grandkid, and they don't want their grandkid to be in jail or be hurt. And they usually, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, $6,000 they lose, and we can't get that money back. Once the gift cards are given to the scammer, that money's gone, and we can't trace gift cards because they're sold on third-party websites and that kind of stuff. So those are difficult, and if you just take a moment to think about what the person said, did you say your grandson's name or did they? Hang up the phone, call your relative and find out if that's them. Typically, it won't be. They're not going to call you and ask for money to get out of jail from Georgia or something, wherever they're claiming to be. So that's a big one. Just take your time, relax on that. One of the biggest ones we see is the romance scam, especially in the older population, because a lot of them are alone, they've lost loved ones, they can't get out very much, and the internet's a very easy way to connect with people. And simply put, they meet someone on a dating website, and they go off the website and start talking, usually on Google Meets or some other communication platforms like a WhatsApp or WhatsApp, those kind of things. So they go away from the platform where it's not recorded and no one's there to kind of monitor it. Then typically about a year and a half, they start getting into the financial end. They start asking for bank accounts and they want their account information, a login, and credentials and that kind of stuff. And they end up giving it to them typically. And they had never met this person other than online. And they send fake pictures and they don't know if they're talking to a man or a woman. It's just this fake person they're talking to who wants to take advantage of them, is essentially what it is. So once the accounts are given, they're used as a money mule where they're moving money from other scams through those bank accounts to other bank accounts to get out of the country. And typically, we don't charge these people with crimes in these cases, the victims, and sometimes we do because sometimes they profit from it, and we don't want to see that either. And it can be big dollar. Typically, they're not too big, but they can be depending on how the scam is played and what their angle is, I guess. But one of the things we run into is it's hard for us to convince the victim that the relationship is not real. We tell them, and they just can't understand it. And there's a lot going on there that I couldn't diagnose. I think it's just people are lonely and they want to connect. They don't want to believe that this person is not real. Then the person they've talked to for a year and a half, they don't know anything about them. So it's kind of hard to get the victim to realize that. And that can be, sometimes they don't really. So that's hard for us. So that's a big one. Again, it's one of those things where step back and look at what's happened. You never met a person for a year and a half. That's just not normal for relationships to do that. And once you start getting away or not giving them the banking information, the conversations typically turn darker and have a worse tone to them because they want your account information basically. So just some little things to look at for those. One of the big dollar losses we have is the lottery scams. These can be big because they're not going to stop taking your money until your money's gone. And typically they get contacted by email or phone. And they say you won a lottery. And you can't win a lottery if you didn't put in for one, if you didn't buy a ticket, really. So they have this promise of big money and it's free. So there's some greed in there that goes along with the scam that helps perpetuate it. And then what happens is they say, okay, you won $37 million that you didn't put in for. You have to send us a check because we have taxes and fees and all that kind of stuff. And you never have to pay to win a lottery. So that's a red flag there. And then if you pay them $500, they'll come up with an excuse. One was their car in Florida where they're delivering the money in cash, which no lottery would. It kept breaking down. There's always some excuse why they have to get another 500, 1,000, whatever from you. And they just keep doing it until your money's gone. It's that simple. They will never stop as long as you give them money. You will not stop, or they will not stop rather. So those are the big ones where a lot of money can be lost, like life savings can be lost. And for seniors, there's no way to make it back. It's gone. And all these scams will never get the money back. It's gone, it's spent, it's moved out of the country, they buy Bitcoins and other things with it, so we'll never get it back. We just have to try to clean up the mess and stop the bleeding and not let it continue and not happen again, which is another hard part. And for those of you who like to shop, we're getting a lot of skimmers coming out. Not a lot, I shouldn't say that, I don't want to alarm anybody, but we had one just the other day on a local grocery store at the self-checkout where they made it look like the front of the point of sale terminal where you stick your card in. And you can see, they have it on video and you can see them, they're trying to block the camera, which they do a very good job. Apparently you couldn't see the camera. And they stick it on there, they attach it and they walk away. And then they try to come back and get it in 3 or 4 days or a week and capture all the credit card information and clone the card basically and go spend it and go buy gift cards, what they do with it. So just be aware of that. Look at your, I'm paranoid I guess, but look at your terminal, even at a bank, at a ATM, and just kind of give it a little shake and it shouldn't move. If it moves, then move on, don't go there. And there's something that you can do about it. If your credit card gets exploded, you just call your bank and cancel it and get a new one. You're not gonna make you responsible for those charges. Is that me? Okay. I don't want to be all negative, but there's a couple things you can do to protect yourself. And number one is just take that time and slow down. It's a really big piece of not being victimized, okay? That's really huge, especially with the grandparent scam and any scam where they want gift cards and they're pushy and really belligerent, because they will just keep doing that because that's what they do. And they want to get you upset and they want to get you flustered, so you just go along with their program. So hang up the phone. We don't have to be nice to these people. We get a lot, we're like, well, I didn't want to say anything bad. Say whatever you need to say to get away from this contact and move on, because that's how they keep you connected. And they use that against you, your good heart and your good kindness, they use that against you to stay on the phone. So keep that in mind. If you do find yourself a victim of these things, there's some fraud assistance resources on the board, on the screen rather. We encourage everyone to report these things to the FTC and IC3. Those are government run websites, and the government just takes all this data together. They analyze it and then they don't do anything with it apparently. But we need more data so they can eventually find a way to combat these or get a grasp on how pervasive identity theft is. So absolutely report those things. It takes very few amount of time or very few minutes to do it, and it's really quick and easy, and it gives the government a kind of a scope of what's happening. And the Stop Fraud Colorado one, you can report there as well, and they have a lot of resources there. We could talk all day about different scams and how they work and the different variations, but there's a ton of them on there. It's a really good website. And there should be another screen up there, the credit reporting agencies. If you give away certain information like your social security number is the big one and your birth date, depending on what kind of scam is being run, you're going to want to contact these agencies and freeze your credit. You can do it online or by the phone, but it's a lot easier online. It's just, you're going to be on the phone all day if you do it that way. And that'll stop any new credit accounts from being opened in your name, because they have to have your social security number and your credit score. And they also offer a credit report. I think by law they have to give you one free per year. And it's a good thing to check it and to make sure no accounts are coming up or weird things are coming up on there. If they do, you got to call those businesses and kind of figure out what's going on and get those accounts shut down. So those are the big ones. I don't leave them negative, but they're all preventable. And just be really cautious when you get that contact, that email that doesn't look right, or when you get an email saying, hey, there's fraud on your Amazon account, but you didn't make any purchases, just let it go. Or you go into your site and log into your account to find out. That's the fake email that's getting you to call their call center to start the scam. So just those little things to slow down, look at it. If you get a phone call and you don't know who it is, then hang up or don't answer at all. Then let them leave a message. So just want to leave you with, it's preventable. If it happens, call us, call these agencies, and we'll try to do the best we can to not make it worse.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just had a quick question for you if you wanted to touch on this. Are there any warning signs or anything that folks should be looking out for if for family, friends, anyone in the community, like out in the grocery stores or things like that, that someone might be falling victim to a scam like this?
Yeah, there's a couple of things, like especially with family and friends. So when the victims are in the middle of the scam, the scammers tell them, like she was saying, for their exploitation, they move them away from their comfort base and their family and friends, right? So when they start doing that, that's because the scammer's telling them they're going to make you stop this because they think it's a scam. And then that's the weird psychology behind it. So they try to separate them from any contact they have with the rational person, so they can't get out of the scam. They don't have the mental capacity to get out of it. There's no one checking and balancing what they're doing. So that's an issue. And a lot of times they're embarrassed by it, so they don't want to say anything. So until the money's gone, then they have to say something. So those are a couple of the big things. In terms of out in public, we don't really see that. It's just the contact that happens via phone or email, and that's how these are starting now, basically.
I would add one thing that probably, when you're talking about grocery stores in particular, if you see someone purchasing a large money amount of gift cards, that's sometimes a red flag. So I would say most of the time, I don't know what your opinion is, that for services to be provided to an individual, usually that provider is not going to be asking you for a bunch of gift cards to be mailed to them. That's not usually how payments happen. And so sometimes people will go to the grocery stores, they will purchase large number of cards and a large money amount. And so that is definitely a red flag that you want to watch out for, especially if you do work in those 8 stores.
And a lot of those stores do that. They warn the victim, like, hey, it sounds like a scam. But the victim is being coached by the scammer. They're going to say it's a scam, but it's not, because, whatever the scam is. So they coach the victim to lie to the cashier, and that's how they kind of defeat that protection angle. So that is a big red flag, and no agency, no business is going to dictate how you pay and take a gift card. No one can do that. The city can't do that. It doesn't work that way. So a gift card is an immediate red flag that something is not right.
Awesome, thank you. Any other follow-up before we move on? Okay. Well, I will go ahead then, and we will shift into conversation with Maureen, who is our Victim Services Coordinator with the city and county. And so if you are an unfortunate victim of crime, there are some services and supports in place for you. So Maureen, do you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yes, thank you. And good evening, everyone. And thank you, Jennifer, for those kind words. And I won't tell you how long I've been here either. So we'll start first with the Victim Services Unit. The Victim Services Unit was created in the Broomfield Police Department back in 1986. And in 1993, voters put into effect the Crime Victim Rights Act. They voted on it in 1992. And what it meant was that for crime victims in the state of Colorado, victims had a right to be informed, present, and heard, and they had a right to know what was going on with their case. So what that looks like for a police department is that we have to give victims specific information about their case, meaning we need to let them know who their officer or detective is, what's their case number, contact information for anyone else they need to contact within the district attorney's office or in the police department. We need to let them know if there's a defendant that's been identified, who that is, as long as it's not a juvenile, that we advise them of the notification of a warrant or arrest, a defendant's release, and that can be done two different ways, through a non-medic system that notifies the defendant of the release, or a pre-arrest module within that system that we can pre-register a victim whose defendant has had a warrant for their arrest, and then the defendant's next court date and condition of bond, and to keep in contact with them. When there's a person's crime, for the police department, it would come through Health and Human Services to the police department, or for individuals directly, and that could be any at-risk adult or senior, or any other adult or child. But when I speak of person's crimes, I'm referring to indecent exposure, assault, menacing, a robbery that happens to their person, a sex assault or harassment, something that happens to the individual's person. And when those statutes go into effect, we're needing to notify victims. Some of those victims need immediate support in person or by phone. Some of them need maybe information mailed to them or emailed to them. And what we're trying to do is shore up any information or any services they might need in the immediate after the incident occurs. And for some individuals, it takes much longer for us to provide services because maybe they don't have a personal support system that's close to them or available to them, or they don't have available community support and they have a lot of issues that need assistance with. And we try to work with those, either referring people out to community resources or community-based victim assistance programs that maybe be able to help them with some specific needs, such as rental assistance, moving assistance, food, utilities, something that can at least get them through the initial context of what was going on with their crime. We provide information on eligibility for crime victim compensation, and that is monies that comes out of the district attorney's office, and it comes from penalties and surcharges on defendant's fees. And victim compensation is designed for any person's crime victim who has out-of-pocket medical cost, hospitalization cost, they need therapy cost for mental health, or maybe they've had medically necessary devices that have been damaged during the incident and need replacement. So we can assist a victim for applying for those services. And then the next information goes back to the property crimes and financial crimes. So sometimes we'll have victims that call us and they'll say, I received a letter from you and I need to go see what the information is. So where victims can get updates, a lot of times when victims call us, we're sending letters out based on maybe fraud cases or financial crimes, identity theft, employment scams that would end up going back to the two detectives. And sometimes if they can't get a hold of the officer or detective, they'll be calling us for updates, and we can look that information up for them. If there's been a warrant and we see it's in the system, we can register them again for arrest watch and let them know kind of what the information we have so far. Sometimes victims are asking, am I eligible for victim compensation, or what about restitution? And those are two different things. Crime victim compensation on identity theft and fraud cases are minimal for the assistance they can provide for an at-risk adult, and that would probably be limited to mental health counseling, to see someone to process what they're going through. And that also can go for property crimes too if they're an at-risk adult. But victim compensation is specific to those specific items, and it's statutorily mandated what those items can be provided to a victim. Restitution's a little different. Restitution comes after the sentencing of a defendant, and those can be long and arduous payments, because if a person doesn't have funds to pay back, they can make $25 a month payments. So the courts often take the court cost, fines, and fees first out of the defendant's fines for their crime if they're found guilty, and then the next part comes to victim restitution. So we usually, if there's assistance we can provide within the community, we try to do that, and try to see what we can do to help the victim through the initial stages. The rights of crime victims, again, is to receive fairness, dignity, and respect, but also be informed and present and heard of what's going on with their case. And once our services are provided to them, if a case goes to the district attorney's office, then those cases have a victim advocate in the district attorney's office who take over the services that they would provide at that level. We do have a jail, so if someone's sentenced to our jail for a number of days or months or up to 2 years, then we would make sure victims notified if there's any early release on the defendant and any other information they need to know. The last question was, can anyone help me with runner food? And oftentimes that's one of the victim's biggest needs, and they may be going to FISH or Catholic Community Charities Victim Assistance Program or one of the other programs that'll help with that, but there's some specific needs that they need that maybe those food banks can't necessarily do, and we can look to the victim assistance programs within the community to see if we can assist them with what else they need to help them. Sometimes our victims we're working with can take anywhere from 2 weeks to anywhere from 1.5 years, depending on how long the case goes and what their needs are. And so what we're trying to do is just provide as much assistance as we can, not only statutorily, but also to help the victim through this difficult process. And cases often take a very long time. So I think victims sometimes will, or the community may not know that a case can go from anywhere from 3 months to 1 year to complete. And that can be very daunting for someone to go through. So we're here to help, and if there's any questions, you can certainly call the Victim Services Program. On the Broomfield Police Department webpage, there's a Victim Services Unit webpage, and you can look that up. And if you have any questions that come off of that, or have any questions tonight, I'd be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Wonderful, Maureen. Thank you for all of that information and for sharing that with our community. Again, if you are on the call and you do have any questions, we will have a question and answer session at the end, but you can also pop your questions in the chat window, and I am keeping track of those, and we can get to those at the end of the conversation. So we spent the first half of the meeting talking a lot about what happens when at-risk adults are mistreated and victims of crimes. And so now we want to really transition into what positive things are happening in our community. What are those resiliency programs and services that we have for all of the seniors and all of the folks in our community who work with them and love them. So with that being said, I am going to turn it over to the indomitable Fonda Buckles, who will be talking to us about Broomfield Senior Services and what they have to offer.
Wow, thanks, Molly. I'm Fonda Buckles, and I'm the manager of Broomfield Senior Center. And it's quite an honor to be able to be part of this panel, because many years ago, I worked side by side with Maureen, Paul, and Bonnie working adult protective services cases. And they were so caring and enduring to the end to make sure that people had justice and had their needs met. And so it is an honor to be able to be part of this panel today. I'm going to talk about the resources that we have to offer older adults in the city and county of Broomfield. What I want to share a couple pieces of data with you. Research shows that older adults who participate in senior center programs can learn to manage and delay the onset of chronic disease and experience measurable improvements in their physical, social, spiritual, emotional, mental, and economic well-being. In addition, research shows that compared with their peers, senior center participants have a higher level of health, social interaction, and life satisfaction. Now, with hearing that, I don't know who doesn't want to come and hang out at the senior center. We are missing the older adults coming in, and that was the highlight of my day. And I can't wait till the day that comes and those doors open. And working side by side and partnering with Health and Human Services, law enforcement, victim assistance, and all the other community partners to make sure that older adults have access to all of the appropriate services and resources. So what I want to do is I want to highlight some of the high-level services that we have here at the Senior Center. We have our meals, our nutritional programs. We have Meals on Wheels, which we serve hot meals Monday through Friday. We have 2 amazing chefs that work in the kitchen. I'm often kicked out of the kitchen because I want to go in there and eat more often than I should. We offer frozen meals for the weekend. So basically anybody can get a hot meal prepared 7 days a week if need be. Well, soon, when we open the doors, one day we will have our Lakeshore Cafe back up and running. Lakeshore Cafe is so much more than a hot meal. That's the place where people come for the socialization. And so not only do you get a hot meal, you get to see your friends, you get to have laughter. And if you're ever to walk into Lakeshore Cafe, you're going to walk into a room with smiles and laughter. It's definitely a feel-good place. And again, more than just that hot, delicious meal. It's a place to see your friends and have that social interaction. We have special event lunches. I don't know if you've ever been to those. Those are really cool. We have Lisa Marcus is our supervisor. She makes sure that we have pretty spectacular events planned for all of our lunches. We typically have live entertainment. Sometimes people get up and dance, sometimes they don't, but we have lots of fun. We have our information assistance program. We have a full-time community resource advocate that helps people navigate resources. So as Bonnie was saying, and Paul, just pick up the phone and call us. If we don't have the resource here specifically at the Senior Center, we're going to help you navigate that resource. And that's something that we take pride in, that we stay on top of the local resources so we know what's out there to help you navigate through those services, whether you've been a victim of a crime or involved with adult protective services, or you have some aging complex issues, simple or complex. Just give us a call. Help us navigate you through those processes to make sure that you have those resources. Again, that is what we are here for, and that's what we love doing. We have the Caregiver Respite program. We have funding through our Denver Regional Council of Governments, and we also have additional support funding through Senior Resources of Broomfield. And the Caregiver Respite program is really, that's exactly what it is. It's respite for caregivers, so that we can bring in a qualified person into your home so you can get out and do something fun, to get a little bit of a break, to come to the Senior Center, to go shopping, whatever you need to do. It's a support system in place for you. Like Bonnie was saying too, you've got to have those friends and networks and make sure that you have those protective factors in place to support the community. We have a special needs fund where, again, through the generous support of Senior Resources of Broomfield, we're able to offer different resources. There's times where people are calling us saying, I don't have money for medication. Well, literally, they don't have money for their diabetic medication. So they're kind of figuring out, do I pay my bills? Do I have food? Or do I pay for my medication? Again, please call us. And it's not just senior services that have the ability to fund different resources. There's a number of local agencies across Broomfield that we work closely with, that we can, again, help you navigate those resources and get those essential services in place to assist you. We have, of course, the health, fitness, and wellness programs. We have yoga, Tai Chi, Zumba, dance classes, you name it, at all fitness levels. I've even gone out there and did a dance class. They called it beginner, and I still had a hard time, but other than that, it was fun. So come and join us. There's so much to do. To keep you healthy and active. We have our transportation services. We have Easy Ride. So Easy Ride is a transportation program that provides free transportation door to door and assisted transportation, meaning that we will come and get you, go to your door, and help assist into the vehicle. We will take you to doctor's appointments, the grocery store, to get your hair done, whatever you need to do, whatever you need. We operate Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. I might have just messed that up. And we have also accommodated our hours as a result of COVID. So our business model has changed a little bit. And again, if there's a need, we do whatever we can to try to support that. So our business model and our daily operations have changed a little bit, again, to meet the needs of the community members. And we will continue to do so. As those needs come up, we will always find ways and do our best to find ways to meet those and address those. And again, if you haven't used Easy Ride, please give us a call. We have the best drivers out there, and Again, we can get you where you need to be. We have access to public benefit counseling. So if you have questions about Medicare or Medicaid, we have people on site that will kind of help navigate you through some of those complex Medicare questions. If you need help with Medicaid, we have great folks at Health and Human Services that is a phone call away. That if you need help around long-term care benefits or public assistance benefits, please just call us, because I find a lot of folks qualify for services and they have no idea they could have qualified. So again, going back to the protective factors, even if you have a question, just pick up the phone and call us. You are never a bother. We want to talk to you. We want to help you. And I don't want to find that they could have qualified 2 years ago for services and enhance the quality of life and living and increase their independence in the community. Because we have a lot of supporting organizations here in Broomfield that are ready and able to help. The other thing we have is volunteer and civic engagement opportunities. We have a number of volunteer programs across the city. And again, we couldn't do what we do without our volunteers. We have our Meals on Wheels program. We have the most amazing volunteers that are dedicated, even through some of the worst snow days that the city didn't close, we are out there delivering those meals. So we also just recently, there was a need in the community saying, hey, you know what, we need snow shoveling. Well, guess what? You asked, the city delivered. We've got the Snow Pals that just started last winter. We have Broomfield Pals that kind of morphed its way into chore services, yard services. People are calling saying, hey, I need help with my yard. Well, we've been already able to accommodate that. The city hired a full-time volunteer coordinator, amazing person, has already been able to fulfill those needs. We are already talking about a chore service program. We're getting calls of people saying, hey, you know what? I need some help in my house to vacuum. Those are preventative measures. We can get in and help folks do some of those basic cleaning in the home, but also be in there and meet the socialization, reduce the isolation. So we're working on that. Again, the community is saying, hey, this is something we need. How do we all come together? Because like Molly said earlier, it's not one person, it's not one department, it is the entire community. And it's not just the professionals and the staff in the city and county of Broomfield, it is the community members that make things really happen. We have social and recreational activities. We have active adult trips. We have in-state and we have out-of-state. Right now they're put on hold, but hopefully we'll be able to get those up and running. Rumor has it we have probably some of the best active adult trips scheduled in the community. We have people calling me from other jurisdictions upset because they can't get into some of our programs. So that should tell you how amazing they are. We have free health and wellness classes. We have different medical professionals coming in, financial professionals coming in to make sure that the community is aware of what information that they need to know. We have drop-in activities. Again, this is not happening right now, but when as you see on the screen, the beautiful Broomfield Community Center, when those doors open, we'll have various drop-in activities. We have card games, we have sewing, we have art. We even have the coolest band that comes in, and they have been waiting to play at Lakeshore Cafe. So when the doors open back up, you're going to hear this amazing band. And again, we have educational and art programming. We have free educational programs. And one other thing too, and I think the library is going to talk after this, some of the most amazing adult programming doesn't just take place at the senior center. They are taking place all across the community. And the library, man, some of those programs, you've got to visit them and see what they have to offer. So they are an amazing group of folks as well. We have tech classes, art classes. We're going to have some computer stations at the Broomfield Community Center so we can look at increasing our tech cafe programs. And again, we're very eager to open the doors to see everybody again. We are dedicated to make sure that we keep those community partnerships strong so that we stay on top of what we need to do to better serve our older adults. And I think that's all I have.
Wow, Fonda, that was a lot. That was a lot of stuff. And so thank you very much for covering all of that information. And I just wondered, we have a resource sheet, is that correct, that we can send out or link when we post the recording? with all of your resources? Is that something we can get access to?
Yeah, absolutely. All of the information I've talked about is actually on our website. So we
Okay.
try to keep our website updated. So as we get new resources, even from community partners, we're trying to do our best right now, especially because we don't have the venue to advertise within the community center. So as we'll be keeping our website up to date with the older adult resources.
So yeah, so if you are interested in accessing any of those resources that Vonda just talked about, please go to the website and we will make sure that that is linked when we post the link for this recording. So as Vonda mentioned, we do have folks from our library. Pauline is here from our Broomfield Public Library to talk a little bit about what they are doing to serve our older adults at this time. Pauline?
Thanks, Molly. Thanks for having us tonight. And thank you, Fonda, for the great plug. The feeling is quite mutual. We absolutely love our senior services partners. As Molly said, my name's Pauline. I'm here with the library, and I'm actually here to reintroduce you to the library. We have a lot of the same services that you would expect from your library, but some of them may look just a little bit different. We have opened up the building, and I'll share our open hours here in a little bit. We have opened up the building to the public, so you are able to come in and browse as you'd like. If that's how you like to collect your materials. We are also continuing our curbside pickup. So what that is you would place your holds online, or you can always call the reference desk. And when those materials are available and ready, you'll receive a notification that they're available for pickup, and head on over to the library. We've reserved a couple of spots in the parking lot just for the curbside pickup with a nice phone number. You give that number a call, and one of our staff people will come out and pop your items into your trunk. So that's our curbside pickup that's available during any library open hours. An alternative to getting your materials is our home delivery service. This is offered to our residents, Broomfield residents, 60 years and up. And to begin this service, you would fill out the form online. It's right at the very top of our library website page. And that form is quite similar to a delivery service form, asking for information about, where do we deliver, what sort of items you want, and then gives you an overview of how the process works. So to go over that just quickly, it's you fill out the form, you get approved, and then you put your holds online, or you can give us a call and we can place them for you. And then our volunteers will collect those items and deliver them right to your doorstep. And not only can you get your books, you can request audiobooks, you can request DVDs. We have experience bags, which are a collection of books and activity ideas, even some food recipes and drink mixes. So you've got a lot of opportunities for activities with that experience bag. Additionally, with the home delivery service, you can request fabric masks or some craft kits. Our librarians have prepared some activity kits that have a few different supplies, and most likely the additional supplies you would need are pen and paper from your own home. So those are available through our home delivery service as well. We've also introduced to our collection our hotspots. And if you don't know what a hotspot is, it's a small device similar to a pager, the size of a pager. And this device will provide internet to your laptop or your tablet, your phone. It could even provide internet service to a reader, such as a Kindle. And these are available to our Broomfield residents, 18 and up. They check out for 3 weeks at a time. You can pick them up at our library If you do decide to go with our home delivery service, it's available as an option to be delivered to your home as well. This hotspot runs on a 4G LTE network, the Sprint network, so quite similar to a cell phone. That's sort of the way that it works when it connects to your device. And it is unlimited data, so you can stream all the books and movies you want. After you've checked out your items, from the digital items from our library, you can use that hotspot to access all those materials. And just as a refresher, I wanted to highlight our ever-growing digital entertainment collection, which includes ebooks, e-audiobooks. We have a collection of popular magazines that you can read online. And then we also have a service that streams movies. So pop on your hotspot, connect it to your device, and you can stream a whole collection of feature films and documentaries through our database Canopy. And those are all accessible through our library catalog. There are also some opportunities for online learning through our library. Again, you can, if you have a device that connects to Wi-Fi or check out that hotspot, you can learn some new languages. There's even a intro to the guitar. There's a 6-week workshop that is self-guided on how to write your own autobiography. And there are also some homeschool materials that will supplement the curriculum, the homeschool curriculum as well. So these are some online learning opportunities that are available. And we continue to offer our free printing, free wireless printing as well. So you don't even have to come into the building to access all these services that are available to you. Say you have a label or a document that you need to print out, you can just send it through our wireless printing service, which is accessible through our website. Upload your documents and go through that process. Give us a call, say, hey, I sent something through your wireless printing. Can you deliver it to me curbside? And we will do that right away. So that's another service that we've incorporated into our curbside and library services. And as I said earlier, we are open to the public now, and our hours are still 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with a bit of change. So from 9 to 10 a.m., that's when we open to our residents 60 and up and vulnerable groups. Then we close for half an hour for sanitization of the building. And then we reopen again from 10:30 to 1. And then from 1 to 2, we close again to do a cleaning of the building. So we'll open from 2 to 5. And then we'll close again from 5 to 6 for our last round of cleaning for the day. And then we'll open again from 6 to 9. So those are a lot of numbers that I just threw out there. You can always find these open hours and closure hours on our library website. You can also give us a call to see, am I catching you at the right time? Are you open for another 10 minutes? And we can get you in the building. Our Sunday hours remain the same, 1 to 5. And I've shared our contact with you all, and I'll let you know what that phone number is for those folks listening. This phone number will take you straight to the reference desk. Should you have any additional questions or concerns, need some clarification, that number is 720-887-2350. And that's our reference desk, and you'll reach any one of us librarians who will be so happy to help you out.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Pauline. And we appreciate you being there for the community during this time, and know that everybody is looking forward to expansion of your services and getting back to what we were used to before. So thank you so much to you and your team for all your dedication. And so with that, I will turn it over to Carly, who is with an organization called Cultivate, who works with seniors in our community. to talk a little bit about their services. Carly?
Thank you, Molly. So we're with Cultivate. Cultivate is a Boulder-based nonprofit. We serve Boulder County and Broomfield County. We provide safety net services for seniors, people who are 60 years of age or better, and we've been doing that for 48 years. So we have multiple programs that we provide. We do provide only 2 of those in Broomfield County, and those are the ones that I want to talk about today so that you're all familiar. So the very first one is the Carry Out Caravan program. This we've been doing in Boulder County for a while now, and actually we were lucky enough when COVID hit that we were able to have amazing community partners that allowed us to open this up into Broomfield County. And so we do a shopping day every Wednesday for Broomfield. We take the orders on Tuesday, our volunteers do that, and then our volunteers shop and deliver them on Wednesday. So it's a really great opportunity not only for people to get groceries without any extra fees, but there's no interface with any sort of app or anything like that. They get to talk on the phone with people in our office to get exactly what they need for their groceries. It's also a nice chance to chat and really fight some of that isolation that can occur. Now, normally our delivery drivers also have a great chance to chat. Of course, that's not really a thing as much anymore. We do a contactless drop off outside of the home. But we are offering that up. We continue to bring on new clients. So anyone you know who is interested in participating, we are always bringing those on, as well as new volunteers. This program is just a great way to get what they need. All of the clients do need to pay for their own groceries, but we are open to any method of payment that they use, and we keep everything secure. So we try to provide as best service as we can for those people. And then our other program that we provide to Broomfield residents is the Vets Go program. So this is a program where we provide rides to veterans who are 60 years of age or better, as well as their family members who are 60 years of age and better. This is our only program that has that requirement that you need to be a veteran or a family member of a veteran. For our other programs, it's just 60 years of age or better and just nothing else. We'll take you no matter what. So for this program, our volunteers use their own vehicles for rides. For all these programs, I always reiterate we're following CDC standards for PPE and stuff like that. So we want to reassure all of our clients and partners. But this is a great way for someone to get a ride to their appointment because we will take them anywhere. We go to any medical appointment. I know it's specifically for veterans and veteran family members, but we will go to any facility, not just the VA facilities. So we'll take them wherever they need to go. We do require 7 days notice for this. I always let people know that we can't do any last minute rides with this service. But again, free of charge and a great way for people to have a really good connection with someone during this time. And those are our 2 main programs that we provide for Broomfield County. Again, they're open. We're always accepting new clients, new volunteers, and we're always open to any questions. I believe the next slide pops up. Perfect. That has our website, which is cultivate.ngo. And our phone number 303-443-1933. So if you ever are interested in learning more about us, feel free to call. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have. We're a small but mighty staff, so we're ready to help. And I think that's it for me. Thank you so much, Molly.
All right. Thank you, Carly, for sharing all of that information. And at this point, I would just turn it over to anyone else on the call who either has a resource that they want to share or a question that they would like to ask of any of our presenters today. And I haven't gotten any questions via chat either. So I'll just wait a few more minutes just to make sure that we don't have anyone who has any last minute questions. But I will let you all know while you're thinking about that we will have this entire presentation with the recording available both on the city and county website as well as the Health and Human Services website. So this recording will be accessible to you. And as well, it did occur to me during the presentation that it might be great to put all these resources together in a one sheet that we can then post on our website as well to access along with the recording. So we will have both of those things available for you all in the community to view in the future, because there's been so much great information shared today and it was a little overwhelming to absorb it all. So any questions that have come up for folks? Okay, well, we will go ahead and wrap it up then. And again, just want to thank our panelists and for participating in this and bringing forward your expertise and your information and your resources for our community. I just thank everybody for your participation, and we will hopefully get this recording out to you as quickly as we can. And this will not be the last conversation that we have. And so hopefully we'll get to do this again in the future. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening, and we will talk again soon.
Good night.
Night.
Thank you.